Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Military Mayday. We're reporting out a few pieces on the chessboard. Got a couple stories for you here we're going to go over. The UN International Court of Justice clears Russia of financial terrorism in Ukraine, leading to the downing of Malaysian Airlines flight MH17. Now it's a short story. Basically, it has to do with the reason of legalese and just not investigating certain monies. But this story is going to go nowhere, and the reason why, if you had followed any of the Malaysian Airlines and you took a deep dive into it, you found that there are certain powerful bankers and interests that were involved in some of that stuff, if not all of it. And that's a can of worms we're not going to open. But it's a little story we'll read through. It's important to know, especially if you know about Malaysian Airlines. U.S. ally under fire for helping Putin hunt down anti-war Russians abroad. This is a rock band. I've never heard of them, but we'll read through it. When it comes to hunting down people from abroad, I mean, that's you're going to have that here in your own country, turning in people when the day comes. It's already happening. Anyway, before we get into them, let's subscribe to the video channel. Let's try to get some word out. People might find this stuff interesting. International Court of Justice dismissed much of Ukraine's case against Russia, ruling that Russia's violation of the UN anti-terrorism treaty, but declining to address Kyiv's allegations that Moscow was responsible for the 2014 shooting down of Malaysia Airlines flight MH17. In the same ruling, the ICJ found that Russia breached an anti-discrimination treaty by failing to support Ukrainian language education in Crimea after its 2014 annexation. The court's decision were a legal setback for Ukraine, as it rejected requests for reparations and only ordered Russia to comply with the treaties. While Ukraine's representative highlighted that it was the first time Russia was officially called a violator of international law, the ICJ declined to rule on the downing of MH17, citing that violations of funding terrorism applied to financial support and not supplying weapons or training. Isn't that interesting? Let me read you that again. The ICJ declined to rule on the downing of MH17, citing that violations of funding terrorism applied to financial support, not supplying weapons or training. So apparently, funding and then supplying weapons and training are maybe three different things then? I mean, can you say, well, I'm not going to investigate the training part because I mean, how do you do that? You can investigate the weapons and the training, but you can't investigate for the funding of the weapons and the training. I mean, you see, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's kind of looks like a bullshit ruling. There's something going on there, but you won't hear anything about this one. I just wait and see. U.S. ally under fire for helping Putin hunt down anti-war abroad. The arrest of a Thailand-Russian rock band cited of Vladimir Putin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine has raised fears that the Kremlin's reach of its crackdown on dissidents is spreading beyond its borders. Yeah, unlike other countries, isn't. A former American diplomat is among those who have called for the U.S. State Department to call on its ally to release the members of the B-12 group detained by Thai immigration authorities in Phuket for working without a permit. Usually these managers and bands make sure and got everything. You can't just open up a stadium, you know what I mean, without. The group is one of the most successful Russian rock bands of the last 30 years, and it has used its platform to condemn the war in Ukraine. Its lead singer, Igor Bortnik, has been labeled a foreign agent. The designation by Russian authorities introduced in a crackdown on criticism of the war in Ukraine after criticizing Putin online. On May 23rd, the band's singer Igor Bortnik wrote on his Instagram that he would not return to Russia, saying everything that Putin's Russia causes now is only disgust. The band's 7 members were arrested on the 24th for unauthorized shows while touring Phuket and the island of southern Thailand, popular with Russian tourists. The band said on its face page faced deportation that outside pressure played a significant role in our detention. Amid concerns, their arrest was connected to the Kremlin's influence, although there is no proof that Moscow was involved. This is really serious. We cannot allow Putin to arrest people all over the world, posted Michael McFaul, who served the U.S. ambassador to Russia, Thailand, blah, blah, blah. The post was shared by U.S.-born financier and activist Bill Bowder, who was once based in Russia before his firm, Hermitage Capital, fell foul of the Russian authorities. It's totally outrageous. Human Rights Watch said of concern that the band members do not have dual citizenships and travel to Thailand with Russian passports, and they could face persecution if Bangkok deports them to Russia. 4 of the 7 have Israeli passports. Really, look there. 4 of the 7 has Israeli passports, one of whom also has Australian citizenship. Bortnik has left Thailand for Israel, according to the post on the band's Facebook account on Tuesday, while the rest remain in immigration prison and his cramped cell for 80 people. Wow, what a nice lead singer. Just ditch your fucking dudes for Israel. He's going to Israel. I mean, how interesting, right? But anyway, you'll probably hear about this, especially if he is a Jew, by the way. Putin's persecuting Jews. Anywho, like, subscribe. Toodaloo.